Welcome back to another reading and correcting by me, Kendar, the Tiger Knights, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. Today we are doing chapter 92. Loneliness sucked. I hadn't expected that. He threw himself in the work that needed doing, channeling purity. Once it was dark, he ran the roofs, then broke into a noble's house, then headed to the room to sleep and found it empty. That hurt. It was his fault, and he accepted that. But the realization he'd expected at least Jackal or Karina to be in their room made him understand how badly he'd hurt his friends. He tried to ignore the hurt by working and training with Quigley, but he was distracting, glancing around, hoping Jackal would show up to cheer, even jeer him. He didn't even come to their table to eat their meals. "How angry is he with me?" Tibs asked Krosef as the server brought him his meal. Krosef looked around, then sat. "He's not angry, Tibs. He's hurt." "I didn't mean to." "No, he's hurt," Krosef said. "After your training, my man decided it was a good idea to go to the pit, and Haru was more than happy to make him regret fighting distracted. He's been healing since." Now Tibs felt bad for not considering Jackal might have a reason not to seek him out. "You didn't tell me he didn't want you to feel you had to go see him." "It's my friend, of course I'd have seen him." "Yeah, what?" "They're gone to see him." Jackal's not always the smartest around. You know that. "Did I?" Krosef patted his arm. "That's for you to decide." Then he left to go back to his work. He looked at the papers he'd set aside to make place for the plate. They had to be dealt with. Even without channeling purity, that was what he wanted to do. But, he decided, no matter how angry Jackal was, or wasn't, with him, if Tibs was in trouble, his friend would come help. Tibs pushed through the discomfort of facing someone who dared to help. Tibs could push through the discomfort of facing someone he'd heard to help him. Tibs closed the door and dropped the satchel by it, then turned to look at Jackal lying on the bed. He looked fine. If Tibs ignored the bandages on his legs, his chest, arm, head. Sensing the essence, Tibs saw he had no injuries that put his life in danger, but they were extensive. "You going to judge silently?" Jackal asked, "or you're going to tell me how much of an idiot I was?" "I'm the idiot. I shouldn't have said what I did." Jackal's chuckle was interrupted by a groan of pain. "The plan was for you to practice overflowing with truth. I failed." "Why didn't you come with me with your trouble, Tibs?" Tibs shrugged. "I told you I didn't want to burden you with them." "But why? I can take the burden. I'm pretty fucking strong." "You're already helping plenty with fighters. I didn't want to take more time away from you with Krosef." It's not a stretch. "Okay, wow. You are right. You're an idiot, Tibs." Jackal looked at him. "Helping you isn't taking anything away from me and my man. You're my friend. Fuck, you're more of a brother than those who were born to my mother. I can be there when you're having hard days, but I'll sacrificing what I have with Crow." Tibs forced himself to say it. "I'm scared to be the reason you get in trouble with Krosef." Jackal's head snapped in this direction, and he winced in pain. "Tibs, that is Tibs, that's even more stupid than anything I've ever come up with. Krosef considers you family. He'd have help if you thought none of us could. Fuck, Dr. Russell, if it comes to that, with those big ears of his, he can definitely do that. And don't bring up that thing with the girl he was sweet on. He's a grown man. He understands she was using him." He stepped next to his friend. "You think I can fix this? You fixed me after worse mistakes." "I mean the team," Tibs replied. Couldn't help but from smiling. "Of course you can, Tibs. You just have to go and do it." He found Karina in the cellar of a bookseller, surrounded by books. He was only slightly surprised. He knew she had guys she spent time with and nights with, but she always found books more comforting. "Not so scared of books anymore?" she said, not looking up from the one she was reading. "Only if you plan on throwing one at me." She looked at him, horrified. "Tibs, how do you think I'd do that? These things are heavy and they hurt." "Think I deserve something after what I inflicted?" "No, you don't," she sighed. I didn't either. I know. I'm sorry. She nodded. I never realized how dangerous truth could be. Everyone's saying how lying is bad, that it will ruin everything around you, but all it took was one truth, and I was ready to walk away from everything we've shared. She looked thoughtful. You think they do it on purpose so we won't all wield it as a weapon? He shrugged. She smiled at him. I guess not all lessons come from books. Commodore found him. He was walking along an alley, and the clerk stepped out of a shadow. Tibbs wasn't surprised, and he couldn't tell if it was because he'd been too lost in thought or if he'd sensed something. I will tell you why, Commodore said. No. You are who made me search. You deserve. I had no right. Tibbs rounded on the clerk. Even with light pushing me, I had no right to say what I did, to question you and why you do what you do. You've respected us. I should have been strong enough to respect you. Commodore studied him and nodded. Thank you. Tibbs ground his teeth as he felt the looks, the stares, the disapproval at his presence on his street. They wanted him there as much as he wanted to be here, but this is where he needed to go to speak with Mez, and it was fitting punishment for the pain he'd inflicted. The house wasn't the largest or the most extravagant, but it was still larger than it needed to be for the handful of people living there. The cord was a delicate fabric he didn't recognize. The chime, when he pulled on it, sounded as delicate. Mrs. Girl opened the door, and the look she gave him was withering. He's not here, she said slowly, enunciating the words, but it did little to smooth the accent. She slammed the heavy door before Tibbs could ask where Tibbs was. Before Tibbs could ask where Mez was. Mez was at the archery field, not firing his bow, but helping another archer with his posture. He noticed Tibbs, gave a nod, and focused on helping the man again. Then he stepped aside as the man threw the bow. I'm sorry for causing a problem between you and your girl, Tibbs said. Mez raised an eyebrow. I went to the house that you stay at, and she answered the door. You didn't cause that. We're having a difference of opinion on what we're meant to do with the position we hold in society. Multiple differences, really. Shook his head. Can I help? Mez chuckled. This isn't something you can fix, and it's not your responsibility. He motioned around him. A lot of this isn't your responsibility. You can't save everyone or protect everyone. You need to learn to accept that, or what you're trying to do will kill you. You can't just give up on them. Mez faced him. Tibbs, strangers who come here knowing they could die and did. They could die and did. Sent you in such a bad place you hurt us. Yes, it's so bad that they died. It's worse they did. It's worse they did knowing what we know about the dungeon, but it wasn't your fault. They weren't your responsibility. You need to figure out how to let some of this go before they drag you down to oblivion along with them. Who's going to keep everyone safe if I'm not the one doing it? Mez grabbed him by the shoulder. We will, Tibbs. Me, the team, the others. And as much as you hated even some of the nobles, you aren't alone in this. We're here for you. I can't eat with you for a few days, Jekyll said, dropping in his chair. And you start thinking you can just put anything you want on in my place? He gingerly pushed papers away from him. Tibbs smiled and made neat piles of the papers. You need to get a proper desk, Kirina said, dusting charcoal dust off the table. I don't think this goes well with venison. It's going to have to be in a corner here, as Tibbs likes being around people too much. It is all those pockets, Commodore said, sitting. Rogues simply cannot move away far from them. Tibbs' smile hurt as he put the papers in the satchel, but he didn't mind that pain. This concludes Chapter 92 of Stepping Up. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next one is going to be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the story, you can do so for free on Royal Road. You can read about, I think, 9 chapters ahead if you do so on Patreon and support me. Or I should say up to 9 chapters ahead, because it depends how much you support me at, what level you support me. If you want to listen to me do these live, it's on Twitch every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. The links are in the notes. And with that, I shall wish you a good day.